Welcome, gentlemen. This is the Bastard King. Today I'm going to talk about Bastard King Edict number 3. Have nothing to do with single mothers. So many people before me have covered this very topic, it might seem like beating a dead horse. But so many men keep falling into this trap that I feel the need to address it just in case one of them comes around and discovers this channel and this is the first time they hear of it. The first reason, and these are in no particular order. Number 1, she has no time for you. In all likelihood, if she's not on welfare, she has work. She has child-rearing duties. She has all sorts of things going on. So if she agrees to a date with you, which you shouldn't pursue in the first place, she has to secure a babysitter. She has to work that day, maybe. She has to get herself all done up. And in all likelihood, she has to be home at a certain time, too. Which means if you want to go down that road, either A, you're not getting laid, or B, yeah, you're gonna have to take her to your place, and it's gonna create all sorts of complications, and it's just really more trouble than it's worth. So, number 1 reason, there is not going to be any time for you. And if she flakes, and this is gonna make it more likely that she will, and you accept it, she's gonna say, I have this simp on the hook. He'll take a rain check. This guy's easy. That's number 1 step to having you around her little finger, and she knows it. Number 2. Expectation of money, which turns into expectation of support. At first, she'll try to lure you in with going Dutch on the date, maybe paying for you, showing that she's not going to be a burden. Believe me, gentlemen, this is all just desperation window dressing. The second you start going on more dates with her, and the closer those kids come to meeting you, the faster this whole thing is going to fall. She'll be expecting you at first, I'll pay for little Bobby's ice cream. Pay for little Nikki's fair ticket, and then the ride tickets, and then you all go out to dinner together, and she's going to want you to pay that. Maybe even so brazen as to ask to chip in with, back to school supplies, all sorts of little nickel and dime things that you won't really think of as being a big deal at first. $50 here, $20 there, not a big deal. God forbid you move in with this person or the opposite happens. Then the expectation of support comes in. Are you going to pay for little Bobby's shoes? Are you going to pay for little Nikki's meals all the time? Are you going to pay the bills, the heat bill, the electric bill, put gas in the car? And it'll simply escalate until it's very, very hard to extricate yourself from the situation. That, and there's always that chance, well, I'll address that in another point. And that point is, courts deciding that you're a father figure. Oh, if you happen to get into this situation where you have the expectation of her for support, now you're getting into the territory where the courts just might agree with you. The kids start seeing you as something of a father figure. Of course, you have no idea what's going on here. You're innocent in all this. You're just trying to do well by a single mom. Take care of the kids. You know, it's sort of an instinctual thing for a decent, well-to-do man to do. Until the bill comes ready, enforced by the family court lawyers, then all of a sudden that expectation of support becomes legally binding, and you are screwed until those kids are at least 18. Which brings me up to my next point. Single mothers do one thing by definition. They have kids. Maybe out of some misguided emotional need to have the seed of her provider, but more than likely in an attempt to trap you, the single mother will do her best to get pregnant by you. It's another kid. If she's on welfare, it's another payment she gets. And the courts will be like, hey, you had a kid with her, now you're really on the hook. Not only to your seed as 18, but in all likelihood, as I said before, until they're all 18. Next point, disrespect from her children. You see, children have a very keen sense of who's in charge. Now, most single mothers aren't going to let you discipline their kids. They're not going to let you correct them when they get out of line. God forbid somebody comes from the outside and tells her little angels what to do. The kids are going to see that. And they are going to disrespect you because they see their mother disrespecting you. Now, they won't know what it is. It's going to be the lizard brain, the hind brain of the child that does all this thinking for them. But after a while, in an attempt to restore order in a noisy living room or dining room, you're going to hear, The dreaded phrase that they all hear eventually, "You are not my father." And let me tell you, most single mothers are not about to let that disrespect go checked or disciplined or anything like that. If she's not willing to let you discipline the children, she sure as hell isn't going to do it in front of you, because that'll betray her double standard. So, if you're going to date a single mom, if you get far enough down that road, which I'm imploring you to not do, be prepared for some mad disrespect. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Next point. This is not your seed. The whole point of being a man is to innovate, to think, create, and to make the world bigger and better than when you left it, to leave your mark. And having children for many is a part of leaving that mark, finding a good, virtuous woman to be with who will gladly bear their seed and allow you, well, maybe allow is not the correct term, to stand with you as you teach the child, discipline the child, raise him in your own physical and mental image, and put him forth out into the world to do the work that you can no longer do due to age or death. That is the whole point of having kids. It's your legacy. Well, if you have children that aren't your own in the household, even if you do get to discipline them, even if you do get to do all the things that I said before, you're likely not going to. You're perpetuating the seed, the genetics, the very life force of some other guy that by definition wasn't as good as you. In all likelihood, he was some bad boy that she just let smash, and then boom, out the door he goes. Is there a small likelihood that he was maybe an okay guy that she kicked to the curb for whatever reason or another? Yeah, it's possible. It happens. But in all likelihood, this guy is inferior to you in every sense that society holds good. So, this is a person whose genetics you're going to be perpetuating, not your own. And that is a losing proposition every time. It smashes your dignity. It smashes your self-respect. And quite frankly, it insults every one of your forefathers who lived, fought, and died to make sure that you existed on this planet with the genes that you have. If you cut them short for the sake of perpetuating a lesser man's child, well, that's the type of guilt that I've never felt and never want to feel. Which leads me to my last point with all this. The fact that she's a single mother, widows aside, there's nothing wrong with an honorable woman who happened to have a crap hand in life, whose man got taken from her prematurely by death or disease. We're not going to shovel any garbage upon those people. Some of these things do apply to a single mother who is a widow, by the way. Not all of them, though. I wouldn't suggest you get involved with one of them, but at least on their end, there's no culpability. They do deserve pity and compassion, not anger and wrath. But for most of them, the fact that they're a single mother is evidence of bad decision-making capabilities, almost every single time. Because on the one hand, they let some rando smash. Maybe he knows about it, maybe he doesn't. Either way, she had a kid out of wedlock, which is a universally terrible decision no matter which way you slice it. Or, he was a bad boy, total scumbag, gave her the lower body tinglies. One thing leads to another, nature takes its course, she gets pregnant. After all, like I said, that's what single mothers do. They get pregnant. So the decision was to reproduce with a clearly inferior man. It either displays that she consciously made the choice and has bad decision-making capabilities that way, or she has a very devil-may-care attitude about life, doesn't cross the T's or dot the I's, and ends up with bad things happen to her due to her own negligence or stupidity. On the other hand, maybe she did get a nice guy, a good guy, a provider, a guy who wanted a family, a guy who would treat them correctly. That for one reason or another, call it lack of income, call it boredom, call it the 5-page checklist that just wasn't there in this guy, call it what you will, but she took a totally reasonably good dude and kicked him to the curb for the most selfish and narcissistic of reasons, of which there are myriad. And that's not a comprehensive list, mind you, people. That's simply what I could come up with right now. I could bring in baby daddy drama if the dad of the children is indeed still in the picture. There's all sorts of ways that could go. So let me know down in the comments what other perils and pitfalls are associated with being a single mother, and which ones have you seen, either through personal experience, being raised by a single mother, friends who have gotten with single mothers, or God forbid if you've gone down this pit and managed to find your way out of it. So yeah, hit me in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.